6, Fred Gibson in the Turbo Bluebird. From 4 is car number 8, Gary Wilmington in a Falcon. From 5, number 105, Terry Finnegan in a Commodore. From 6, car 12, Jim Keogh, Victoria in a Commodore. From 7 is 47, Brian Callahan in a Falcon. From position 8, car number 28, Barry Lawrence in a Commodore. From 9, 38, Bernie Stack in a Commodore. From 10, number 3, Mike Bergman in the Camaro. From 11, 55, Christine Gibson in the second of the Turbo Bluebirds. And out of position number 12, car number 19 is Ken Matthews in a Commodore.
There are 4 more cars in the field. Andrew Manson in a Commodore, Joe Moore in a Falcon, John Kraft in a Capri, and Terry Ryan in an RX-7. One of them, though, has stopped out on the circuit and warming up like one of the tail enders in terms of the grid positions. But the front runners are all there. It's 2 Mazdas in the front row. The man who holds the lap record, 37, Terry Shield. The man who was quickest in practice yesterday, Barry Jones. The flag is down.
Okay, Terry Shield getting a beautiful start there on the outside. Jones has muffed the start completely after losing the first heat, after leading all the way, and the entire field has almost gone past him. Up to the top of Bitchapave Hill, dropping into Dunlop Loop. And surprise, surprise, we've got a Ford here with Gary Wilmington slingshotting past, dropping down into Dunlop Loop. And now there's Freddie Gibson fighting back. One sideways there in a Commodore as they go through, and we pick them up on the back part of the course. Wilmington in the Ford leads heat number 2. Shield in second place. Finnegan is the next one through, followed by fiery Fred Gibson.
And it was muscle power at the start. Wilmington in the big Falcon just shoved his way into the lead. He must have frightened the daylights out of Shield. He said, where did you bring that thing from? He's in front. And now the Mazdas have to get by. And we saw Freddie Gibson shouldering his car around the corner there and muscling a Commodore out of the way. But it's Gary Wilmington leading the race in a Falcon. And the field for the first time of 10 laps thunders past pit road.
Sights and sounds of the cars. Once again, we're picking them up, coming into Dunlop Loop, and your race leader is Gary Wilmington in the Ford, doing it nicely. Terry Shield in the Eurocars Mazda RX-7, pecking away there at the inside, is going to find an inside pass here somewhere. It could be here as they come down the back straight. Not the pace really to pass, but he's sitting in behind Wilmington. Terry Finnegan doing a good job. Gibson is there keeping them company, so the top 4 you can throw a blanket over as they come out of Honda corner. And maybe now Shield has the acceleration as he ranges up on the outside, and the 2 of them race neck and neck down to Winfield corner. I don't think Wilmington's going to give away, but Shield might get the run of the race on the inside coming out. No, he hasn't. The long leg to the Ford payoff up to Wonderlick corner, and the Ford driven by Gary Wilmington doing one heck of a job here at Amaroo Park.
And the Ford fans on the hill are cheering. There's nothing like a Ford to bring out the parochial nature of some of the fans on there. They're dazed with excitement to see Wilmington going so well. It's the drive of his life. He's really staying in front under immense pressure. He's got Shield behind. Terry Finnegan, who's trying to find a way around Shield, goes a bit wide then, and wily old Fred Gibson sitting back watching a lot, and only about a car left behind the scrap. 4 cars, 4 different makes. Any of them could win the race at this stage. They've still got 7.5 laps to go, and it's still the man that we didn't expect to see leading this race, Gary Wilmington, leading and driving beautifully, aggressively staying in front, not putting a foot wrong, and bringing joy to the hearts of all Falcon lovers around the country.
Well, he's only a little guy, and sitting inside that Ford, just look at him wrenching on the wheel. Looks like a one-arm paper hanger in a gale. Moving up to the outside is Shield. Finnegan now decides he's going to have a shot at Shield on the inside. Can't do it. Across the strike again. And the big yellow Ford with little Gary Wilmington in it, doing one heck of a job. There they go, the back view of them heading up towards Bitchapave Hill to the top of Nissan Skyline. And we'll pick them up for you coming down into Dunlop Loop. And here they come. Wilmington doing a good job staying there.
Terry Finnegan trying desperately to get by the Mazda in second spot. Taking a pretty good line this time. He went a bit wide last time. Now he's coming hard. But here goes Shield. Shield's got a good line. Just a slight touchdown with the 2 cars. He's through. Wilmington had to give way. Shield is through. Finnegan tried to go through as well. Wilmington holds on though, and Shield is away. He is flying. And here comes Finnegan trying to get past the Falcon also. Goodness me, what a motor race. But Shield is away. He now has a 3-car lead over Wilmington. Finnegan's behind him trying to find a way by, and Freddie Gibson's still back there.
Okay, through the bottom turn at Winfield, Terry Shield, a little adventurous there, a little tail slide of the RX-7. Freddie Gibson, I tell you what, he's been playing rear gunner here today in the 2 heats. All he's had is the rear end of Commodores and Fords in front of him since both heats started. And Finnegan tried to make a big move here on Gary Wilmington. Wilmington hugging the inside. Finnegan's got him covered, goes to the outside. Will now try and cut back to get the inside out of the turn. But with all that weight up in the car, all he can do is really wallow around about the same as Wilmington's pace.
Yes, there are two big cars there, and Finnegan just can't find a way around. And Wilmington's going to hold him up. I think Finnegan wants to go faster now. He just can't get by, and Fred Gibson will have a go in a moment too, because he'd like to get out there and pursue the leader. Talking of Bluebirds, which we are when we refer to Fred Gibson, his wife Christine is racing. She's up into 9th place. She's only about 400 metres behind the leaders and doing exceptionally well in her comeback drive after a 21-month absence.
Here's Wilmington going very wide out against the concrete wall. Following him out in that direction was Finnegan. There's Keogh, Jim Keogh, the Victorian, doing quite well. Former Speedway driver Brian Callahan going through in 47. Kenny Matthews, the next one. There's Chris Gibson, 55. Doing a good job first time out in the Bluebird.
Yes, a magnificent driver. I mean, what a challenge to come back after virtually retiring. Mother of two lovely young daughters. Comes back in a very difficult car. It's turbocharged. He says it's easy to drive, but it is a different sort of car. And there's hubby Fred up there in 4th place and trying to get up. He'd like to win the race. Certainly do better than 4th. But he just can't get by the bulk. First of all, Finnegan's big blue Commodore, and then the even larger size of Gary Wilmington's Falcon running in 2nd spot.
Well, Wilmington keeping it on the road. Now Finnegan's chance. He says, I'll have a shot down here on the outside. There's not much room, though, is there? As he gets the back wheel out on the turf.
Tell you what, if Fred Gibson sees something happen, he'll be the first to run over the broken glass.
Okay, here we come again. Finnegan keeping all sorts of pressure on the little guy there, Gary Wilmington. Just look at him, filling out the cockpit there of the number 8, yellow Ford, heading up Bitcher Pave Hill again, and once again Finnegan says to the top. They go over the top and drop down into Dunlop Loop.
This is a race for brave hearts. I was going to say brave men, but we must think of Christine there.
Little gap there for Finnegan. He thought about it. Just dab the brakes and sits in behind once again.
You need a Kawasaki to get through that gap, I think. He'll have a go at anything, but he just can't find the room to get by the great yellow tail of Wilmington's car. And Wilmington is driving so well. But in the meantime, Shield, who holds the lap record here, is just pulling away. Whoops, they all went clipping up. If the first driver hits the curve, the others will hit it as well, because they can't see the road. They go where he goes.
Finnegan this time thinking about it inside. No, that didn't work. Dab of the brakes.
Once again, is going so late in brakes, isn't he?
Yes.
He's going deeper than anyone.
In most cases, you know, some Fords have run out of brakes like this in distance races.
Well, Fred Gibson is looking good. If he can find a way past, he has a car with a bit of speed. He may have the pace at the end of the straight. They just give him a clear run, because that turbo, even though it's a lot smaller than the others, has a lot of power. But Finnegan's having a go. Fred's moving up on the inside, and this could be interesting, like a 3-decker sandwich.
Gibson's got to try and find a little gap. Yes.
Finnegan found it. Finnegan's through, and here goes Gibson as well. And Wilmington said, hey, what happened? I was leading this race at one stage, now I'm 4th. And away they go, while young Wilmington gathers it all together and just gets the car pointing in a straight line. He has the rather melancholy view of these two cars pulling away from him. They're clear and they're after the leader, and that almost wins the high jump.
Well, Freddie's done it tough today. He's right in behind Terry Finnegan, looking for 2nd place, running 3rd at the moment. Finnegan in the 105 Commodore has done a great job here at Amaroo Park.
I was going to say, there's a great battle going on just behind them with Jim Keogh, who just got muscled off, just a little bit behind. We might watch that later on. In the meantime, it's a great scrap up front.
Terry Finnegan across the strike again, running in 2nd. 3rd place being held down by Fiery Fred in the Nissan Turbo. Over the top of Marlborough, down now into Dunlop Loop. And Finnegan handling the car quite well. There's not too much that Fred has been able to do to find a pass on Finnegan at this stage. Meantime, Terry Shield has really vaulted away with the lead. There's no danger whatsoever of being beaten, and will rack up his 2nd straight heat race success here today in the 3-heat series. Pick them up at Honda Corner again. Hop, skip and a jump as Finnegan goes through. Gibson in the 56 Nissan Turbo following very, very closely indeed as they go down towards the right-hander at Winfield. Down past the lake area.
Well, Finnegan has certainly been pressurised. Normally the neatest of big car drivers. He's hitting the curbs and bouncing the car around, just trying to save fractions of a centimetre to keep this man out from 2nd spot. Freddie Gibson. Fred knows his way around. Been racing for more than 20 years. The last lap sign has gone up. They can't win the race, but Fred would like to come 2nd. On go the brakes as they come over the top of Skyline.
Leader just went through. Here's 2nd. Terry Finnegan in the 105 Commodore. 3rd place held by Fred Gibson in the 56 Nissan Turbo. And back behind them, of course, Gary Wilmington in the Falcon number 8. Less than half a lap remains in the 2nd heat of the Better Brakes AMSCAR from Amaroo Park.
Just behind this group, Barry Lawrence in the Commodore, Jim Keogh in the Commodore. But the leader still Terry Shield. He'll win the race. Second spot, Terry Finnegan in the Commodore. And Fred Gibson doing what he can to try and wrest the second spot from him. They have to be content with third, though. Might be content, might have to accept it, because there's going to be a win for Terry Shield in the RX-7. He's going across the line in just 1 second.
There he goes.
There he goes.
Checkered flag for Terry Shield. 2 out of 2. Finnegan takes the second on the 105 Commodore, and Fred Gibson in the 56 Nissan Turbo will pick up the third. Well, you would have looked at the motor race before the flag dropped and said an absolute lay down misère for Barry Jones. He didn't get off the mark. Terry Shield didn't either, but came on strong.